What's up, everybody? All right, guys. Had to do a video. This last month is the hottest I have ever seen the sports card market. By far the hottest. It dwarfs anything I saw in 2020, and we are at a new level of ridiculousness in the first month of the year in 2021. So had to do a video just because I may never see these types of percentage increases ever again. I would actually say it would be unhealthy for this to continue, just because it's unsustainable. It's been crazy, the increases we've seen in some sports cards out there, and I'm going to go through the top 20 that are in my collection that I've seen have gone up the most. Before I get into that, I just wanted to point out, you can see here that I added the Yankee Stadium down on the matting there, so thought that looked pretty cool. Again, my brother put that together for me. He works at Fast Signs. He also put together that silver Jackify in the background. So just wanted to point that out. A pretty awesome addition to the silver Jackify studio, or whatever you want to call this. So yeah, this is the top 20. Before I get into the top 20 cards going up, I figure let's go into two cards that in particular have gone down over the last month. So while everything else is going up, there have been two cards in particular that went down, and this is one of them. And I featured, this was number one in terms of cards going up in the last month's video. So in this video, this is a card that has gone down. I had this at about a $840 card. It is now down to $645, and this is something that I think we all kind of saw. This card went from like a $300 card all the way, in some cases, up to a $1,500 card, and now is back down to a $600 card. So I wanted to point out this card because I am a big fan of buying in now that the card has kind of leveled off. I thought it would level off around $500, $600. I think now is a safe time to get back into it. The big concern, of course, with this Tiger Woods card is the population is really, really high. But you have to keep in mind that this card, at one point somebody was willing to pay almost $1,500 for. Now, some of those might have been bogus bids, people bidding it up. And then the documentary coming out. But I love this card because Tiger is, one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time in terms of golf, and he's going to have a lot of opportunities to, where the card can increase. Could be another tournament that he wins, and he's definitely still capable of winning majors. When he eventually makes it into the Hall of Fame, this card will go up. It's the most iconic, most recognizable card for Tiger Woods. So I love this card. By the way, I'm using, in terms of determining how these cards are going up or down, I'm using a site called Vintage Card Prices, VCP. VCP, just so you guys know, VCP is great when you're dealing with vintage cards, not so great with modern cards. And what I love about VCP is you can put all your cards in there, you could build a collection, and it also tracks auction houses outside of eBay. So like Golden Auctions and all those other, auction houses that go off. So it does a great job of pulling in that data. And then the other site that I use is Card Ladder, which I highly recommend using Card Ladder. It's an app that you can get for free on your phone. And the beauty of Card Ladder is you can, it pulls up the data, especially for modern cards. It shows you a nice, easy to use graph where you can see how your card's been doing over the last 3 months. It gives you an idea of how, where it is with a PSA 10, a PSA 9. The only problem with Card Ladder is it's sort of limited in terms of cards that it offers. I'm sure they're going to be building that up over time. And it doesn't pull from those other auction houses. So there's a give and take on both of those sites. Another card that is down is the Aaron Judge Sapphire. Now, I pulled this card out because these two cards in particular, because I really like both of them. Now, Tiger, I feel like his card has a little bit less risk. With Judge, I've been talking about his cards. I feel like people are going to remember Judge many years from now, whether he's successful or not in his career, just because he was larger than life. The judge's chambers in right field. I think eventually he'll be the captain of the Yankees. The Sapphire in a PSA 10 has gone from a $950 card to recently sold for under $700. That is a 26% decrease. Yankees are, one of the top teams to win the World Series this year, and maybe Judge will have another nice year. So we'll see what happens, but I think this is a good time to buy. I love it when cards go down, especially when the market is booming. And these are two examples of cards that I really like. And whether that be, you don't have to get in a PSA 10, you can get it in a 9. You can get, for the Judge, I also like the Chrome version of this. Doesn't have to be the Sapphire, although I do love the Sapphire version. So those are two cards going down. All right, now the top 20 going up. And we'll start at number 20. And here it is at number 20 is the Wayne Gretzky. So this card, I had it about $1,500 last month and is now selling for about $2,600. That is a 77% increase, guys. That is a 77% increase over 1 month. So that is just insane. And obviously Gretzky, one of the greatest of all time in terms of hockey. One of the patterns that I'm seeing that I think maybe not too many people are bringing up, part of what I think is driving the demand for these cards, obviously there's people that are, investors that are getting into it, like, hedge fund managers that are getting into sports card collections. But I think a lot of it has to do with, people rediscovering the hobby again, whether that be as a collector or an investor. And one thing that I've seen over and over again is that the cards that are really taking off are the cards of the players that were the heroes of the generation of the people that collected in the late 80s and the early 90s. So you're going to see it over and over again. All the cards that are really taking off, these are the heroes of all the people, of my generation, guys that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, the guys that were kids in the late 80s, early 90s are now rediscovering. And now what do they want? They want the heroes of their generation. You can see this over and over and over again. And Gretzky was obviously, for a lot of people that grew up around the same time as I did, Gretzky was the greatest and still is considered to be the greatest of all time. So that's at number 20. At number 19, again, going along with that, is Derek Jeter, the Derek Jeter Gold. Obviously, I grew up with Derek Jeter, watched him from, 96 all the way on until a couple of years ago. The guy was unbelievable, and his cards are skyrocketing. So this is the gold version, and a PSA 10 has gone from a $3,200 card to a $5,800 card. That is a 78% increase in 1 month, guys. That is in less than 1 month, actually, because I did, today is February 8th, 2021, and last time I did this was on January 12th. So I'm looking at February 8th versus January 12th. That's how much this card has gone up in a 1 month period. Okay, at number 18 is the Barry Bonds. Another, again, some people he's a hero, some people he's a villain. But this card has gone from a $350 card to a $635 card. It is number 18 on my list, and that is an 81% increase. So despite the fact that he did not get into the Hall of Fame, which I will say over and over again, doesn't matter whether he gets into the Hall of Fame in terms of his hobby appeal. The more that they talk about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and whether they belong in the Hall of Fame or not, is only going to help with the card values. And I actually think that every year that we debate about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, it just keeps them in the spotlight and keeps people talking about them, and the card will keep going up. Next up at number 17, speaking of heroes from the 80s and 90s, Joe Carter, 1984 Don Russ, Joe Carter. Kind of random. At number 17, this card has gone from a $350 card to a $650 card. That is an 84% increase. Now this, again, I'll repeat that these are the the prices of cards in this particular grade. So in a PSA 10. So if you have an 84 Donruss Joe Carter that's not graded, it's not worth $650. I want to be clear on that. But if you have it in a PSA 10, this has gone from a $350 card to a $650 card, an 84% increase in 1 month. Next up, another card of a player that again, I grew up with, Tony Gwynn. His cards have skyrocketed. So this was a $1,900 card and has gone to a $3,600 card in a PSA 10. That is a 92% increase in 1 month. By the way, guys, every single card from number 15 to number 1 is 100% increase. So it has doubled in 1 month. So every card after this has doubled in 1 month. So that is at number 16. All right, guys. At number 15, and this card is on my list every month, whether it be going up or going down. The LeBron James, for whatever reason, was going down while he was winning a championship with the Lakers, and now is skyrocketing up in value. So this has gone from exactly a $5,000 card to a $10,000 card in 1 month. It's been insane ride for the LeBron James. I think a lot of it has to do with the 86 Fleer Jordan kind of taking off, and then people kind of speculating on the LeBron. So there you have it in a PSA 10. At number 14, and this is a card that could even go up even more. I'm scared to see what's going to happen with it. I mean, this card may just really go to the moon or go to Mars, however you want to put it. This has gone from a $9,600 card, and there was recently a sale for $19,500. That would be a 103% increase. I know that the 2011 Topps update, just like the base, has just gone crazy. And I'm just thinking back that I actually did a giveaway. Maybe about a year ago, where I gave away a Mike Trout rookie in a BGS 9. So it's just insane to think that I gave a card away. But here it is, the Diamond Anniversary, really taking off. One of those cards, it's like next in line, with some of the cards that you're about to see. All right, let's see what we're at. We are at number 13, and it is the 89 Upper Deck Griffey. This is a card that I every time I look at it, I feel like it's going to stop going up, and then it just keeps going up. I couldn't believe it when it had reached $2,300, and it is now at a $4,750 card. That is a 104% increase in 1 month. And then, speaking of which, I might as well put the next card, which is the 89 Upper Deck Randy Johnson, which has gone up even more percentage-wise from a $143 card to a $300 card in 1 month. So the two 89 Upper Deck cards, again, two big cards that, if you collected in the late 80s, early 90s, obviously the 89 Upper Deck set was the set. And there it is, number 1 and number 25 of the set. All right, next up is the Bo Jackson, and this is at number 11. This has gone from a $138 card to a $300 card. That's a 122% increase on the Bo Jackson. Again, a guy that was huge back in the 80s. Young people today may not even know who Bo Jackson is. So it's definitely people that are driving the market, or, guys that collected in the 80s, early 90s that remember Bo Jackson as being one of the greatest freakish athletes of all time. Just a phenom in both baseball and football. All right, guys, at number 10. We are at number 10 now. And this is a card that I think is really, like, in terms of cards that are going up, that I think are going to continue to go up, is this card. And I was thinking about that, the fact that Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, this is their rookie card. And this one, I wish I had gotten a higher grade at this point, but this is a PSA 7. This went from a $2,500 card and recently sold for as high as $6,200. The Magic Larry Bird So I think, again, a lot of people are speculating based off of what's happened with the Michael Jordan rookie card and thinking that this is going to be the next card to take off. There's also a documentary in the works for Magic Johnson. And so that a lot of people are speculating on that, having the card take off. So we'll see where this lands, but this is one of those cards with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, both of their rookies together. Sky's the limit on that card. At number 9 is the Cal Ripken in a PSA 9. Again, same like as I was saying before, guys, same theme over and over again. This is I'm shocked at how this was a $400 card, is now selling for over $1,000, and this is a PSA 9. This isn't even a PSA 10. And that would put it, let's see, that would put it at 155% increase in 1 month. The Cal Ripken in a PSA 9. Next up is the GOAT, and it falls in at number 8. Now, I'm recording this the day after the Super Bowl, Tom Brady and Mahomes going at it together. And it was a blowout. And to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised. I thought if it was going to be a blowout, it would be the other way around. It would be Kansas City blowing out Tampa Bay. But it was a blowout. A lot of people saying that the defense had a lot to do with it, obviously, and I agree. But at the end of the day, no one's going to remember that the defense, won the game for him. Tom Brady threw 3 touchdowns, 2 to Gronkowski, and won his 7th Super Bowl. He won his 7th Super Bowl, which is insane. And this card was going for about $9,000. The last one I saw sold for about $24,000. So that is a 160% increase. Don't know what's going to happen with this card now. I was looking at this in comparison to the 86 Fleer Jordan. The 86 Fleer Jordan has about a pop count. The PSA 10 has a pop count of over 300 plus, whereas this has a pop count of about 1,000. Bowman Chrome and a PSA 10. Plus there's the paper versions, plus there's the refractor versions. So I don't think it has the upside of the 86 Fleer Jordan, but I do think that it's a card that could very well really take off. Now that, Tom Brady, by winning that 7th Super Bowl, really kind of just put the case is over. I mean, he's the greatest of all time. If you were kind of arguing that it was anybody else, whether it be Patrick Mahomes, Joe Montana, Jim Brown, I guess you could make an argument because he's it's a totally different position. But I think the argument's pretty much over at this point. It's Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. All right, next up is, so these cards are actually going up more than the Tom Brady. A lot of Griffey action. So this is at, by the way, number 7. This is the Bowman, the 1989 Bowman. This has gone from a $291 card to an $827 card. And that is a 181% increase in a PSA 10. So, I mean, it's just insane. Next one might make a little more sense. This is the Arenado. This has gone from a $50 card to a $150 card. Obviously, this card went up a lot because he went from Colorado to St. Louis. And a lot of people probably speculating that maybe his hobby appeal would be bigger with the Cardinals than with the Rockies, which is probably makes sense. I don't know if it justifies a bump of going up 3 times the value, but, who knows? So there you have it, going from a $50 card to a $150 card. All right, next up is the 1990 Fleer Michael Jordan in a PSA 10. So this card has gone from a $300 card to an $865 card in 1 month. That's a 188% increase. I was thinking back, I did a video about a year ago where I took 10 cards that you can get for under $50 that were undervalued. You could have gotten this card for $50. I had this as one of my cards that you can get for under $50. Maybe I'll put a link below if you guys want to watch that. It's just insane that you could have gotten this for $50 and is now going for over 800 plus. I've seen it sell for as high as 900. I think what's basically happening is, collectors are getting outpriced of the 86 Fleer and are going for other options at this point. And this is definitely one of the really cool options. I love this card. I don't know if it should be almost $1,000 card, but okay. All right, at number 4 is the 1949 Bowman Jackie Robinson. So this one's a little, obviously this one definitely doesn't fall into the category of what I was just talking about. Obviously nobody grew up watching Jackie Robinson that were kids in the 80s and early 90s. But there was one random sale that occurred for almost $15,000. Similar looking card, 49 Bowman in a PSA 4 in one of those auction houses. Vintage cards are really hard to figure out, which by the way would be a 203% increase from what I had it at. Vintage cards are really hard to figure out because, as I was saying, you really have to look at the card and not the grade, especially with vintage cards. And so it's really hard to figure out what they go for. It's part of the reason why I don't think that investors have gotten too much into vintage. Like, if you guys are really frustrated with, if you're a collector out there and you're really frustrated with the way that cards have gone, I would highly recommend getting into vintage, because vintage is really hard to figure out in terms of like what it should go for, because you can't just type in Jackie Robinson PSA 4 Bowman 49 Bowman and get a feel for what it should go for, because I wouldn't be surprised if the next sale of this card is for $4,000, maybe a PSA 4 that doesn't look that great. And so it fluctuates so much, and it can be very difficult as an investor to figure out what to buy. Whereas, this is real simple. It's a PSA 10, just get the PSA 10. Whereas with this, you're collecting the card and not so much the grade. And I don't know if investors will ever really get into the vintage market. I think they will to a certain extent. But if you kind of want to, there's still great opportunities in vintage. Cards that have really not taken off as much. All right, number 3 is the 89 Topps traded Tiffany Griffey. These numbers are staggering, guys. This has gone from a $3,350 card to a $12,000. There was a sale for $12,000 in a PSA 10. This is the Tiffany version, guys, by the way. This is not the regular traded version. That is, by the way, a 258% increase on the Griffey Tiffany. I don't know what to tell, again, Griffey for if you're a baseball fan, is sort of the equivalent to Jordan, for those of us that, grew up in the late 80s, 90s, Griffey is it, maybe it's Trout, maybe it's Jeter, but I think a lot of people will go towards Griffey as being one of the most likable, most iconic players of the 80s and 90s. So I think that's what people are going after. At number 2, speaking of Jeter, this Jeter card has just skyrocketed to epic proportions. It's all over. If you guys look at blowouts, people are talking about it. This has gone from a $6,600 card to a $25,000 card in 1 month, guys. 278% increase. And it's still not number 1. So this is number 2, the PSA 9 Jeter. And we'll see where this goes. At number 1, again, is Michael Jordan. And here is the number 1 card in terms of percentage increase. This has gone from a $3,000 card. And I saw recently this go for as high as $13,000 in 1 month. That is a 333.63% increase in 1 month. So I think this really comes, again, people are seeing the 86 Fleer Jordan go to almost $1 million and are looking for what's the next card to really take off. I think a lot of people are looking at this. They're looking at alternative investments. A lot of it also has to do with Gary V was talking about Jordan and, look at the alternatives to, the 86 Fleer Jordan. So a lot of that had to do with it. But this card is absolutely taken off. This has been a roller coaster of a card to own. because at one point I felt like I had overpaid for it. Then it came up, then it was going up, and then it was coming kind of crashing back down. And I was like, oh no, I clearly overpaid for it, and now it's gone skyrocketing back up. So I don't know where all this is going to land, but while it's happening, I'm just trying to enjoy the ride, guys. I find this analysis fun, and hopefully you do too. And hopefully you guys have been, got in on all this stuff early, and have been watching my videos for a long time and been picking up similar cards. A lot of people ask me, what do I recommend? I recommend if I'm buying a card, that's usually a card that I believe in. So, and I'll try to do, a lot of people have been asking for another video of cards, because not everyone can afford $1,000 cards. Try to do another, $50 budget cards. I'll try to do that $50 budget, maybe $100 budget. I'll try to do that. The problem with those types of videos is, if I say 10 cards and then they all go up, everybody, I get the comments like, well, every card's going up. So, and then if God forbid they go down, then people are going to blame me. So it's a lot of pressure on me to do those types of videos. So that's why I don't do them as much. But anyway, I'll probably do it anyway, just for fun. Thanks guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you later. Peace.